So this year you can celebrate all you want. And I hope you do. There's things going on, 600 events across Indiana, festivals, fairs, activities, all branded with the Bicentennial and our themes of history and community and children and nature. But also we want to leave legacies. I mentioned the state park system and the state flag, two of the big legacies of 1916. And also the creation of the Society of Indiana Pioneers, which was a way to make sure that we keep track of those people who have been in Indiana for a long time and celebrate our shared history as the world changes. So what are some of our legacy projects? Our commission talked about what can we leave behind, and there are some kind of brick and mortar ideas that will be there. All things have been talked about for a number of years. You may have seen our biggest project will be finally a building for our state archives. Our archives have been in a warehouse since the mid-'80s. And this will be their first new construction building. It'll be downtown on the IUPUI campus. So you can see the records for genealogy and of our historians there. Bicentennial Plaza is our interesting project going on. It was originally planned in 1913, so maybe after 100 years we can also have that on the west side of the State House. And it's a place where inaugurations can be held and where we'll have two public art pieces, one symbolizing the torch, because we originally thought about having the torch come at the end of its relay and light a permanent flame. And I've now found out more about Homeland Security than you might want to know. And you will not have any live flames downtown anywhere around a state house. So we're going to have a representation of that. So we thought in representational times, well, why would we have a time capsule? So we're having another piece of art done. Instead of burying something, we will have a time capsule, evocative time capsule above the ground. And then the third thing that we're doing, which was planned in 1986 but unfunded, is an education center for the State House. Fourth grade in Indiana is where you study Indiana history. And if you don't remember, go to a library and check out a fourth grade history book, or Dr. Jim Madison's books on Hoosiers, which are wonderful readings for you and to learn more about your state. Last year we had 42,000 fourth graders come through the State House. So this year, in honor of the Bicentennial, there'll be a new structure in the State Library that will help those kids get oriented to the State House, so that when they go in and see one of the most beautiful state houses in America, they can also get an idea of what it means to be there, what it means to vote, what it means to be a participant in democracy, and they can hopefully be better citizens. We have a book, we have a medal, things that you do, and the books are available again at any public library in the state. And our medal, which we did, I thought that was kind of an odd thing when I came, until I was north of Kokomo and talked to a lady in Macy, Indiana, who's 103 years old, and I said to her, "Do you remember anything about the Centennial?" And she responded, "Well, honey, I was only 3 years old." And I thought, well, maybe there was a chance. She says, "I have something even better." And she got up and walked to her jewelry box, and in there she had the medal from 1916 that her dad bought for all three children when the Centennial was coming around, and she'd kept it for 100 years. So mementos and stories of this time are really important, and something that you can share to build those memories. Tell a story that doesn't involve your thumbs and can take more than 140 characters. Those are the things that your children and grandchildren remember, and that's important for us all to do. As I mentioned, your Indiana State Fair starting next Friday. 1 million of your friends will be there. It's totally themed, celebrate the Bicentennial. We'll have a big booth inside what used to be called the Arlands Pavilion, now the Bicentennial Pavilion, where you can learn more about Indiana, what's happening in Indiana, about the torch relay, about the bison, about art projects and things that are happening across the state. And you can see those 35 bison, our Bison Stampede, which will be by the glass barn over by the Pioneer Farm building, and that'll be important. And children is our lasting legacy. We have 250 projects working on projects on the health and well-being of Indiana's children, because we think and we know that that's really going to be the legacy of this Bicentennial. In 1916, they celebrated the centennial not on December 11th, but in October, because the weather took 3 to 5 days to get to Indianapolis from Posey County, from Allen County, DeKalb County, Lake County. So they did it right after the harvest when people could come. And we're doing that same thing downtown at the State House campus. We think there'll be 5,000 people there. We hope you will come. Meet reenactors from Indiana's history. Go to our food truck exhibit where we're having homecoming foods. Bring your recipes, bring your stories, and be part of that. And then at 4 o'clock, the torch relay will finish its 37-day journey across Indiana, and you can celebrate, as we do, the finish of that journey and the joining of all 92 counties. We'll celebrate the legacy then all that weekend in December. But regardless of whether you celebrate or don't, in your own way, I hope you'll recognize that because of your background and your beliefs and where you've come from. You are a Hoosier. There are 133 days left till Statehood Day. We are counting. We have the countdown clock in our office, and every day you walk in and go, one less day to get things ready. What can you do in 133 days? How can you touch the life of a child? How can you remember your stories? Write them down. After the first service, I had people coming up saying, my grandfather, my mother, my people did this. And yet if we don't write it down, 100 years from now, no one will know that it happened. Jim Madison said, and I want to read this quote, "We are a people who call ourselves Hoosiers because we share a certain kind of identity, a certain kind of community." So wherever you roam and whatever you do, you'll still be a Hoosier. We get notes back every day, and you'll see on our website we're doing 200 happy birthdays. So check our website, indiana2016.org, and every day we post a different happy birthday from all over the world and all across Indiana to see how people remember their Hoosier home. You know, it's a fact. You may have heard about the brain drain. 80% of our four-year college graduates leave the state of Indiana. But I think maybe it's a more telling statistic that within 10 years, 50% of those Hoosiers come back. They come back here to get a job and to work, to go back to their small town, to raise a family and to leave their own legacies. But I bet they come back singing a song.